Howdy, howdy, guys. Jake here with Happy Pipes. If you're seeing this video, it's because you're interested in our different septic system options or because we've given you some guaranteed proposals and it has these options on there. Decided to record a video. It's hard sometime in words only to describe how some of these things work and why it's so important to you to know about your system when it's going to last many, many years to come. In order to start this tale, we have to start with the good old state of Mississippi, one of the most lax states around that allows wastewater discharge the way Mississippi does. What do I mean by that? The limits, how pure the water coming out of a septic system can be, that's dictated by the state is like way under what the majority of other states are. We don't know why this is, but it is that way. And so we typically refer to these systems as contractor grade systems. If you get outside of North Mississippi, you'll start seeing system installations cost 4 to 10x the standard price in North and South Mississippi. It's a little bit astonishing, but what we want to do is bring all options to the table. That way you can make an informed decision with relevant information. Now, even our contractor grade systems, we believe to be the highest of quality. After coming from many years, I started when I was 12 years old on septic pump trucks in a family business and seeing which systems worked and which ones didn't. When I went into the installation business in 2016, I knew then which system I wanted to install because it was the systems that needed the least amount of maintenance. It didn't give people the biggest headaches. And so I've stuck with those brands and manufacturers, and we've developed a really good set of systems that we install. I want to talk about those here. Now, all the guaranteed proposals are going to include three different categories. It's our good, better, best option, basically. Whereas the good is just the contractor grade. It's the budget option. Now, again, coming at a higher standard, also how we put our pipes in, everything is make sure that it's got the correct grade, everything's packed in. You get one free complete yard smoothed up. You get a free rebuild on your air pump or air pumps completely at no extra cost. So we bring that value into that, even the contractor grade. If you're on a budget, we bring that value in even at the lowest level. And we always explain these things where you can add different packages on later. That's how we install our systems. So from the contractor grade, we get into a completely different category where we're going to really start to treat that water way better. And it's not only just treating the water, because at the end of the day, it's going out, you forget about it. Okay, environment may not be the top thing on your priority list. Having a family with some money in their pockets and able to do some things, that may be a higher priority. The problem with these contractor grade systems is they typically to have high maintenance cost. And so that's why we want to bring these options and kind of clarify what's going on, because it may be cheaper to install right in the beginning, but it becomes a lot more significantly expensive over the life of the system. And we guarantee you cost savings at each one of our levels of installation. It may be more upfront, but it's going to save that much and more down the road. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about what a treatment plant is. I've got a cool little diagram. Bear with me because some of these pictures were being a pain, not wanting to pull up earlier. So here's what we're going to do. There we go. Get my face out of the way. Awesome. All right. So this is your basic actual treatment plant. I couldn't find a diagram of the ones that are installed in Mississippi because this whole first section isn't included. That's right. This whole first, what we call the trash or pre-treatment tank, is not even on the contractor grade systems. It starts with the aeration. So let's explain typically how a septic should work, right? And then we'll talk about the different options. So option is that the water comes in and it goes into this tank. As you can see, it's the dirtiest. What's lighter than water floats. What's heavier than water sinks, leaving this cleaner water in the center. That's what this pipe does, takes over, and this drops over into the aeration. Now, just like fish in an aquarium need oxygen to breathe, so do the microbes inside the water that are literally breaking down. They're kind of converting solids into gas. That's breaking down, right? And they're off-gassing this and breaking down the waste to purify the water, taking it through an entire cycle that's nature built in, right? Nitrogen, ammonia, nitrates, all these words you might remember from science back in the day, right? And that's what's going on inside this tank. That's why the air pump is needed. It's literally 1,000 times more effective than this first stage. This first stage is used, though, to really buffer out chemicals. So if you're using a lot of bleach or you're using toilet bowl cleaners, you got those little blue things in the back of your commode, we say don't do those in general, but this is kind of a catch-all for that, as well as anything that shouldn't be flushed. Feminine hygiene products, you name it. There's all wipes, there's all grease, there's all kinds of things that this buffer tank can catch to keep from raising havoc on the rest of your system. Though this doesn't give you like the ability to do those things, it just is there to catch them just in case, as well as adds to the treatment. So it traps the majority of the heavier solids here that can't really be treated in this next stage. If they do go in here, like on the first contractor grade, the first set of proposals that you got, they're the most budget friendly. Everything goes into this stage, which means this little air pump down here that's pushing these little bubbles in at the bottom are working so much harder, and they're pushing against that air pump. So you're going to see a lower air pump life, and those little air pumps aren't cheap. That's one of the reasons that we include one free rebuild with the installation, is because we understand people are worried about an extra maintenance, and so we include that on that first install. So you'll see a shorter life on that is what'll happen. You'll also notice more smells because this system isn't able to do things as effectively, as efficiently as it should. So it's going to smell outside from time to time. There's no telling when that may be. Even if anything, it's going to smell, and it's going to be smelling in the vents that are coming up out of the top of the house. If you happen to have a system that uses a lot of those little shore vents, the little rooftop looking birdhouse thingies on your pipes underneath the sinks, if those were to tend to leak, you're getting these worse smells up into the house. It's a sewer gas leak. It's not good. It's not healthy, and it's a lot of stronger smells and vapors that you don't want to be inhaling over time. So from this aeration stage, then it passes over and goes into what we call the clarifier stage, which is the 98.8% pure water. The water then comes out and is treated with a chlorine tablet. Now, is one exception to this, and if you happen to need a spray system, the spray system is when lots are typically small, or you want to reuse that water for from irrigation or whatever it is, but you've got a spray system. It would come over here and drop into a whole nother separate tank, right, with a pump. This is a spray pump, right, not the air pump. The air pump sits up on top out of the ground, pumps the air from around the environment and pushes it into the system. This just takes the water and pushes it up and out to the top of the ground. It's submersed. There's electricity. There's a whole series of floats and all kinds of things that control this pump. When this tank fills up, it pumps it to those little spray heads, the little purple top spray heads that pop up in the yard, spray and water the grass, pop back down as you use the water. So that's how the spray system works. The options that we have, some of the deluxe models do include, and you can get these on any model that you would like, a pump screen that'll actually go around this. It'll help protect this. So if you do go with the more budget options, I highly recommend talking to us about this pump vault filter. It'll help protect this pump. So you can imagine on the contractor grade system in the previous picture, if we don't have this pre-treatment tank and all this is going in here, basically this becomes the green, this becomes the orange, and you're pushing orange water out into your spray pump that can literally stop up with a lint. It's a very high pressure pump. It's not designed to handle solids, right? It's designed to literally aerosol spray this water out onto your grass, and those spray heads can stop up. So if you get the contractor grade, don't have a pump vault filter, you will notice more frequent pump outs, up to like literally with a family of four, like every 2 years. You'll notice you having to clean spray heads in between time, and you'll notice a more frequent air pump and spray pump replacement. So we'll try to educate everyone, and we just give a price out there. Everyone just wants a price, and we're happy. We're open. We share and are completely transparent with all of our pricing. We want people to know the full truth. We're not doing our responsibility to you, our customers, if we don't go through these things. Now, so what are the different options then? You know, am I doomed to have a bad system? Are these treatment plants as bad as everybody says? No. The proper treatment plan is actually highly efficient, can give you many years of maintenance-free issues, and that's what we're going to talk about now. So the first jump up from good to better is adding this tank. And this will be a separate tank outside of it. It'll be a 500-gallon pre-treatment tank that will help catch those solids coming in, everything we just talked about. So it really makes these stages correctly. And if you've got a spray system, I highly, highly, highly recommend going with this option because you're protecting that investment. You're protecting that spray pump, that air pump, everything else. The smells are going to be way worse because we're aerosoling the stuff out. If you don't have a spray system, right, I still highly advise this because you're going to have less air pump changes, right? Remember, because it's making this air pump itself work harder as well as more frequent pump outs. So it's more smells such as that. So that's what this does. It really works as a buffer there. Now, the next phase is to add an entire separate 1,000-gallon tank in front of that treatment plant. So the buffer tank is 500 gallons. We're talking about installing a 1,000-gallon tank ahead of this. And I've given this diagram. Now I'm actually going to show you a video and walk you through a bit what's going on, but I want to kind of prepare you ahead of time. We're putting another unit inside of a 1,000-gallon septic tank. And so what we may have proposed to you is to use your existing septic tank if it's in good shape. If we're doing like an add-on, we can use your existing septic if it's in a good condition. It may not be. If it's not on the proposal, then it's not in good enough shape to do so, or we don't recommend it for whatever reason the technician found there would be issues later down the road. If you have a good tank though, we're going to recommend this option because it's going to save you, right? So we won't have to install this 1,000-gallon pretreatment tank. We'll just put the unit inside of your existing, right? And that will be reflected, of course, in the investment that we're giving you. If not, we're going to install this 1,000-gallon septic, put the unit in, everything's good. I wanted to kind of go over that. We have the potential to use your existing 1,000-gallon septic tank for this next option. The next option is called a sludge hammer. And yes, with an amazing name like Sledgehammer. We're partnered with this company called Sledgehammer, and this brings technology. Think about your cell phone. Think about your smartphone. How we've got supercomputers down into a small space. That's what they've done with the Sledgehammer. There's no bells and whistles and snake oils. It's simple science. And Dr. Dan Wickham, who started Sledgehammer, founded the technology, but basically brought nature into the wastewater. And I get excited and pumped when I start talking about these things because it's amazing. I told you that the air going into a septic system makes everything 1,000 times more efficient. It's a million times more efficient because they've brought technology, they brought nature and put it back into the septic system. Man was never supposed to go into the bathroom in a car in a concrete box, right? We were supposed to go out in the woods. And if you notice, animals when they go in the woods, or what about the trillions of pounds of leaves that fall from those trees in the fall? And where do the leaves go? They disappear, right? They literally vanish. Well, the earth consumes them with bacteria. That's what happens. And so our natural bacteria inside of us isn't designed to break down waste super fast. In fact, we have to eat. So if that bacteria ate too fast, it out eat us. It likes being our body temperature. Well, guess what? The septic tank is not our body temperature. We needed to bring technology. We needed to bring nature back into the septic. And that's what this does while adding other technology. So we're going to blow this up real big. We're going to take a look at this. It's trying to click on me. I'm not the most best here. We're going to mute this because we're just going to talk through it. So that's this unit installed inside the septic system. Either we installed this tank or sorry, this keeps popping up. Either we install this tank or we're using your existing. Now, the only difference between their diagram and ours, again, because we're in Mississippi, in other states, there's 2-compartment septic tanks. We don't have 2-compartment septic tanks in Mississippi. We have single compartment. So this wall would not exist, right? In most systems in the state of Mississippi, we don't have this other wall. But this unit drops down on the inlet side. If you don't have risers, that would be included in your proposals to install risers, both inlet and outlet, to be able to access and maintenance this unit. This unit has its own air pump. So you'll have 2 air pumps and you're like, oh, I'm doubling my bills. It's about $40 a year, guys. $40 a year to make those little air pumps run. And you'll get so much more life out of them because they're splitting the workload, right? And just a simple cleaning the air filter out every 6 months, bada bing, bada boom, you're good to go, right? So this unit has multiple things of technologies. It's got that biology. It's got what we call a bug bag. It's got our bacteria bag inside of it. It's getting air, so it's getting more oxygen, 1,000 times more effective, right? Then it's got what's called attached growth. So inside of this unit there's spot for the bacteria to be able to attach to. And so when this unit starts up, and I'm sure this is going to show you what's going on here, that there's your air pump being installed. Ours don't go in a little green box. There's the air pipe going in, powering the unit, and you'll watch. You see how this does right here? I'm gonna pause it so you understand. Air's being pumped down and the air comes up. what happens is that displaces water. So water's moving with this. So water enters the bottom of the unit and goes up, right? So it basically makes a pump. And this pump is so efficient, it can move the entire contents of your septic system through this unit 24 times a day. So it's about it's about 1,000 gallons an hour. So it's 24 times in a day that this unit's processing and running this water through this high concentration of attached growth, super strong bacteria. Absolutely fantastic technology here. It eliminates odors. It breaks down waste like you would never believe. And these bacteria don't just stay in this compartment. As you see, they continue down multiple compartments because this is in front of the treatment plant that we're about to put in. So now this treatment plant doesn't have to handle all of this waste and it can really finish out. Now this is showing the diagram of it going out into an actual fill bed. We're focused on the treatment plant side of things. So we're going to jump back and we're going to look at that one more time. Here's our diagram. And so that water would then, this wouldn't be here, right? Because we don't need that 1,000 gallons there. So that water would be coming in here almost already blue. So this is finishing it off. This is what's finishing the ammonia cycle, eliminating all odor. This system would not have to get pumped. Guys, I'm saying never. If the system got used really hard and obviously the air pumps could go bad or someone could be flushing a lot of grease and it couldn't process that. But as long as this system is in use and being maintained, I'm saying you never got to pump the treatment plant. That's what I'm saying. Um, and that's how awesome this system is. Then can you imagine the water coming out of this pipe going over, if you happen to have a spray system, how clean that water is. Now in between these two, and I wanted to mention that you do have a chlorine tablet. So if you're going from a septic to a treatment plant, that is one thing you have to do. 1 tablet per month down the tube. Don't stack the tube full. You'll waste a whole bunch of chlorine tablets. 1 tablet per month, just drop it in, right? So you're cleaning the air pump filter or filters if you go with this unit once every 6 months. I tell people when you first start cutting grass and when you stop cutting grass, it's a good time to kind of remember, check on your pump, make sure there's no ants, put your little ant poison out around it because ants like them, right? You're going to be checking these spray heads in the middle of the winter time because they will freeze. So you want to make sure everything's running. Make sure everything stays plugged in. Nobody comes by and unplugs anything because these units do plug into plug-ins outside and kids can come by, dog can grab the wire, things can happen. Landscape guys can unplug it not knowing what it is. So just make sure those things stay plugged in. And honestly, guys, it'll take care of itself. One chlorine tablet per month. And that's the beauty behind these. So really wanted to give you the idea of the technology of how all of this works. If you have more questions, we love this stuff. This is what we do for a living. That's why we've picked this variety of manufacturers and products because we believe they're best suited to fit your needs. Thank you so much, and we look forward to serving you in the near future. Thanks.